Hello everyone. Just gonna try and get back into more of a daily market scan. Um, so yeah, I'll kick it off with this one. Bit of an update. The last daily market scan I did was I think around this level here, where we were looking at the price cycle indicator and the moving averages that it uses. Last time the bull run really kicked off when we actually broke and held above this top band of the price cycle indicator. Um, as you can see here, that was sort of just when it was breaking through the previous all-time high. It sort of came up, retested, and bam, away it went. You could say it really kicked off down here. Another useful indicator is the Gaussian channel when you're looking at long time frames. The bottom band of the pi cycle indicator as well, the bottom moving average, does seem to be a pretty good support on the way up as well. So that's something to keep in mind. But typically once we do break above the Gaussian channel, it doesn't look back for at least a little while. So question is, like I'll show you in a sec, we are breaking out of this at the moment. Question is it a false breakout? Is it going to be something more like this, where we do re-enter again? You know, tough to call at this stage given the global outlook, but I'll touch on that as well. So if we come over the current situation that we've got here. Oh, by the way, the background are just fib extension things that I was looking at to just see where I think the next top's going to be, which is potentially up around this 180 to 250 mark. Somewhere in there is probably a good target given how high we are already. We've never been this high compared to the previous cycle top in the history, really. So not around the halving anyway. So that's just something to keep in mind. If we do get a sell-off in the stock market in general, I would expect this to actually come back down and retest somewhere in this level here, which was about the 382. But for the time being, it looks like this is actually a breakout of both the channel that we've been in, and you could draw these things whichever way you wanted. We go with a horizontal line. You could probably draw a support line through here, and a top line, I'd probably be drawing it through there. In which case we haven't really broken out of this range, but if we just take this downward trend line here and copy that up at the same angle, it does look like we've sort of broken out and retested that and then pushed off again. Now, if today closes, we've got about a bit over 2 hours for the close. If today closes above the Gaussian channel, then it is a pretty good sign that we may actually take another leg up, in which case, just based on the market overall, I'm not expecting it to be anything massive. You look at this volume, there just isn't the volumes there. But I certainly think we could at least hit that 81k mark, somewhere around there. Maybe even another retest of this top band for the pi cycle top. But yeah, potentially somewhere in that region, and then looking for probably some more sideways action, to be honest, and then maybe a retrace before we move up again. nothing but sort of what's happened in the past to suggest that. The realistically, if we do break above this with a good solid move on volume, like the volumes are just awful at the moment, then that will be quite bullish. I will be pretty bullish after that. Retest to the downside, and we're probably looking at the mid band of the Gaussian channel around that 64k, 65k maybe, and the bottom band of the pi cycle indicator is going to be pretty close to that level as well. So if we start seeing breaks below that, then I'll be getting a little bit more concerned. Obviously, you got the support here. Is going to be critical as well, but it's going to depend a lot on the overall market, I think, and a lot of people are nervous about that at the moment. So we'll go into the other charts. Basically, it's looking reasonably healthy, particularly if we're clearing this previous candle here. On the close, if we close above these candles here, I would expect a little bit more upside, at least to the top of this channel. But yeah, volumes concern me. So I'll move over to, this is the 2-year, 10-year inversion curve. Okay, pi cycle, we don't need that, or the Gaussian. So basically, we're well above zero still. We're well above inversion still. We've been inverted for quite a while now, so until that drops back below and uninverts, I'm not expecting a huge recession or anything until that happens. Yeah, 10-year and 2-year are both heading up. So what I was going to cover was the Nasdaq and the S&P now. There's something called the McClellan indicator, I think it is, the McClellan index or something like that. Just watching what some other people have been looking at as well. It's rare that we've gone from a 0 to 100 on that within a month in the past. Whenever we've done that, there tends to be somewhere around 10 to 15% increase, and then we get a decent correction. Sometimes it's just a correction, sometimes it's actually the start of a bear market. Interesting to see what happens this time, but again, one thing that concerns me is the volume on this current pump is a lot less than the volume on the previous pump. And you see that with the 2000.com bust, and you see it with the Bitcoin cycle. Last cycle, that second top was not driven by anyone but retail, really, and the volumes were lower than the first top. So that to me is a little bit concerning, but based on what's happened in the past, there's still enough liquidity, there's still enough zero DTE and positive gamma in the space at the moment to actually drive this a bit higher. Not financial advice, any of this, of course, but this is just what I'm looking at. So, and it's always hard to short a dull market. And I would say this is a dull market. It's a dull market in crypto, that's for sure. There is bugger all volume out there and volatility. So it's the same on S&P 500. Again, had a big volume day that day, but in general the trend's still down on volume. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. What I will do is we'll look at Dow Jones index to gold. This here's always interesting as well. Typically, when you've got the Dow underperforming against gold, that is an indicator that there's something going on in the market as well. Obviously, that dropped off significantly in the COVID crash, but you can see through previous crashes as well, it sort of led before the 2012 issues that we had, but it also was a bit of a precursor in to the 2008 crash as well. You'd see it started to drop quite a bit before that. And again, I don't think we'll get any major recession this year. I think it's probably next year now, towards the end of next year maybe. But yeah, it's just starting to tick over. We did break below this level, which is a critical level, but it's actually broken back above it. So if we get a clear break below this, we'll probably get at least a decent correction dip on the stock market in general. So just a quick look at the Russell. It's dropped a bit. Yeah, I guess I'm looking at it as though there's probably a bit more upside to the majority of the market for at least a month or so, maybe 2, maybe 3. But we'll get a decent correction, I think, and then in the lead up to the election, it'll start pumping again. So that's sort of generally what tends to happen in election years. So it's following a fairly common trend at the moment. It's just you're typically not this overextended either at that point in time. So equal weight, and this is an interesting one. The equal weight didn't make a new high on the S&P 500. You got the inside candle here. We'll see what happens when markets open again tonight, but I mean, that's not looking particularly healthy. But again, tired. We did see a decent drop here, and then it kept pushing higher as well. So, sorry, I couldn't be more conclusive than that, but that's basically the volumes are the big thing that concern me on everything at the moment. Once we start seeing volumes, and the fact you got the Dixie dropping off a little bit is normally good for stocks and gold and Bitcoin and stuff. So, but it's I don't know. It's in quite a hefty demand zone here. So, we could just hover and go sideways for a bit through summer. The VIX is super low. You don't often see the VIX this low. As you can see, if we hit these sort of levels, then I'll be expecting a fair bit of volatility. But you can see here, this is the kind of level that we're at where there's normally some action, some volatility, downside action. Okay. So yeah, just something to keep on your charts as well. The VIX, it does seem a little broken due to zero DTEs, but it's still relevant, I think. This is the 1-day VIX. Yeah. Looks like it's trending down still at the moment. That's about it, really. TLTs. Yeah. In a bit of a downward channel at the moment. We break above that. Might be good. TLTs, probably not good for much else. high yield bonds have just been freaking sideways since end of last year. Yeah, it's quite an indecisive market at the moment. Apart from the fact, I think a lot of the upside on S&P and Nasdaq is just driven by those zero DTEs and gamma squeezes. Basically, it's copper obviously suggests that there's something good going on with the economy, which is kind of contrary to what everyone else thinks. So that's not a bad sign either. But at the same time, materials have been underperforming for a very long time. So that's why gold, silver have all had a decent pump. Silver's done pretty good actually. I got into that on that dip. Got out of most of my gold position up around here, thinking it might drop a little bit lower, but hasn't really dropped too much. I was hoping of a sort of a retest of this level at least. See what happens. Gold will drop off a little bit when the overall stock market drops if it's a decent one, but then it tends to pick up reasonably quickly. So yeah, that's about it really. I'll have a quick look at ETH. That's a pretty strong chart still. A little bit of rejection on the daily today. What do we got historically over here? Yeah, not a lot. Count. Yeah, okay. No, that's a fair supply level in here. I would like to see a bit of a retrace on ETH back into this region in here. Probably back to that level would be a good buying opportunity, I think. Of course, it could just take off to the upside, but I don't know. You tend not to leave gaps that big on single daily candles, especially on the big cryptos. Just quickly check the total market cap. Hasn't really broken out into any all-time highs or anything either. Just turn the again, it's kind of breaking out of that Gaussian channel. Could be an interesting couple of weeks here. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up. Yeah, pushes a little bit higher and then sideways or even a bigger drop down. This is pretty typical of a Wyckoff distribution, really. One more break above and reclaim of this region would suggest that there's probably more downside to come. Yeah, that's how I'm looking at things at the moment. I can go into shorter time frames quickly. Just go to Bitcoin. Like, this has just been atrocious. I've had a bot running that's just been smashed by this crap in here. Pretty weak moves, really. A lot of stop loss hunts and things like that. Need to get into decent volumes again, I think. Yeah. But it looks like we are expanding a little bit again, so yeah, signs are we might get a decent move coming soon. This was a pretty good retest at the top of that Gaussian channel. There's a lot of moving averages in here as well. I haven't got them on the chart right now, but yeah, I think it just reclaimed Oh, that's the other thing. This BTC longs from Bitfinex, if you look at that compared to Bitcoin price, obviously as Bitcoin price is going up, people are taking profit, the number of longs drops off. We haven't seen any profit taking yet on this little pump. And they did start, reasonably low towards the bottom of this channel. So there is basically longs in the market and people are expecting more upside still. So generally, these people are good at holding, hey? Like, they got in as this thing was going down and held this whole time all through the bear market and only started getting out once they were starting to get in profit as we were coming back up. So this is a pretty good indicator that there might be a bit more upside as well. There's not a lot of conviction in this yet, so I don't think this is the start of the bull run by any means. Could compare it to, these sort of times over here where we're just, even that's not right. Looks more like that sort of thing there. But yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on that just to see when we should be starting to take profit on the move. Yeah, that's about it, I think. There's plenty of signals saying buy that we should be going up a little bit more. So that 80k is my next target if we do clear this current sort of level. But that's a pretty good sign. Just wish there was more volume behind it, that's all. All right, I'll sign off for now. Sorry if someone was in the chat, so I couldn't actually find my chat window.